Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy NBA Thursday. Finally, we are back. 12 slate games here, so we have a lot to unpack. We'll go through all the games, answer your questions, give you more of our favorite player props and value lines here, as well as a little college college basketball with Jake. Let's take a look back at yesterday here with the team. A little 3-3 moment, 2-1 in college baseball. Love to see that here, but more work to do today. We have the NBA back finally. Before we do that, Jake, let's head into some college basketball. A lot of crazy things happened in college basketball last night, right? Didn't LSU beat Kentucky?
LSU beat Kentucky on a buzzer beater. It was pretty insane. Right after Kentucky came back and hit a clutch shot, it looked like they were going to win. And then LSU missed a shot. They got an offensive rebound, an insane tap out to a player who threw up a layup. And I don't know how they won that game, but there was a lot of craziness, and the Cats all about the craziness too.
Yeah, RIP Kentucky. I still like them. I still have hope for them if they decide they want to play defense, even though they're a bunch of NBA prospects. If they try, things could go well for them.
Well, yeah. So what I think they have, what I've been saying is they have a Final Four caliber offense, but a first round exit caliber defense. Mm-hmm. So, but if you think about it, a lot of their defensive struggles they're a lot worse on the road where they just lost LSU, but they have such a great fan base nationwide that when it comes to the tournament time, they're always going to be a home team no matter what because of how well their fan base travels.
Right. Yeah. Ashley Judd scares the crap out of people.
Ashley Judd will scare you.
All right.
He's a very big Kentucky fan.
Yes. Let's move into some plays we like for today. We'll start with Northwestern hosting Michigan here. 11.5-point favorites in this game. I don't know much about Michigan basketball. I didn't assume they were that bad, though.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah, they're very bad. Like since in the last 3 years since they made the tournament, they're like well below 500 now. So the last 3 years, Juwan Howard's on the hottest of hot seats right now. And what makes matters worse is Olivier Nkamwu, one of their best players, is out for the rest of the season. Doug McDaniel, he is out for road games because he's suspended for all their road games. So it's just a mess if you're a Michigan basketball fan. It was good during football season, but you can't have everything. Yeah. So I like fading Michigan right here. Northwestern has a really good offense, especially at home. And I think they've hit this number in most of their Big Ten games, and Michigan's defense is not great, especially with all these injuries. 11.5 scares me, Scott, but I wouldn't bet against Northwestern.
Right.
But that's why I went with the team total.
Yeah, and we have them projected for 79 points, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat asking about the Wagner Central Connecticut game. Which we have a pretty decent amount of value on Wagner here.
Let me see that. Unfortunately, I'm not well versed in the Wagner Central Connecticut.
All right, you're fired. We love Wagner. Okay. Let me see.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
We have Wagner winning by almost 6 as 2.5-point.
Interesting. Central Connecticut is really good on the road against the spread. 10-3.
Yeah, 10-3 against the spread on the road.
So
Wagner's only played 7 home games all year. I guess against Division I teams.
It's all coming down to 3-point percentage. At home, Wagner's been +10 in differential, and Central Connecticut's -5 on the road. So despite the ATS records would make sense on why Central Connecticut would be a road favorite. But in the model, it's the 3-point percentage gap that's projected +5 for Wagner, which is making them the favorite.
All right. There you go. If we don't know, we're going to unpack it and figure it out. So there it is there. Let's move on to another pick from Jake here. Looking at 2-leg money line parlay plus money, back to the good old days here, how we like to start the season. Someone was asking about this FAU SMU game here, but let's talk about their money line first.
Yeah, I think FAU has like 1 loss at home the last 2 years. So they're really good at home. FGCU, they're a lot better at home than they're on the road. That's why the model likes them. but I'm going with the Boca Fort Myers parlay right here for all of you guys who want somewhere to retire. Just come down here and they'll happily have you. So this is the retirement parlay right here.
If you like to drive really slowly and not react to green lights,
exactly,
in a couple amount of time, move down here.
Exactly. So this is the retirement parlay at plus 121 on DK. It's just two teams with favorable home splits. So that's why. Dunk City. Dunk City was really, really fun to watch.
That was fun, yeah.
At the time on the beat Georgetown. Unfortunately for Dunk City, they had to face my Gators that year, who took them down. Mm-hmm. So I did live in a retirement community when I was interning for Steven. A couple years back, is my great aunt lived there, and I had no other place to stay. So I did live retirement life. It was nice.
All right. Let's move on to one more college basketball play here. Arizona, Washington State, not as much retirement vibes here. Hofstra money line also parlayed with this alternate total. I believe we went for a similar play like this before, but I like the value here at plus 130.
Yeah, I like the value plus 130. We had value on over 150, whatever it's at. Oh, it's even moved up. But I like playing an alt line here just to get more value. And we love Hofstra at home all the time. They're a really good offensive team. They have really good offensive splits at home. They barely lost to Drexel on the road earlier this season. And usually when teams are about evenly matched, they'll split the home road games. So I kind of like buying them now that they lost to Drexel already this season.
Where is Hofstra?
New York, pretty sure.
That's such a New York sounding school. That makes
I know. Let's see. Hofstra is in Hempstead, New York. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Checks out. All right. As far as college basketball, that's all we have right now. Jake will certainly answer some other questions in the chat if we see them. We're going to head over to the association. Finally, we've been chipping at these games a little bit. Steven, I want to start with this Detroit-Indiana game because I know we are all over this game. Few ways. If you caught me on HQ yesterday, we have started the official movement of Detroit Pistons to suck less in the second half after the All-Star break. We are looking for them to go over their team total or win total of 14.5. Okay, we're looking for 7 wins here from the Pistons in the second half of the season. So we're not necessarily taking their money line today, but we do like them to cover today.
Yes, plus 11.5 still. So one of the reasons why we like them, the futures the rest of the season is because they have a very correctable issue, which is rebounding the ball at home. They rebound well on the road. So that's the big in the projection. We have this projected for a massive +6 edge on offensive rebounds versus Indiana. Detroit's 4th in the league in offensive rebounding differential. Indiana allows the 9th most offensive rebounds to visitors. Detroit's been playing, for them, they've been sucking less with a 3-2 ATS record recently on their road trip before the break. Indiana has 4 straight ATS losses at home, and Neesmith is out. He's been averaging around 16 points a game, so and playing pretty good defense.
We're not asking for too much here. We got a few player props in this game I know we like as well. We talked about Jalen Duren double-double yesterday. That value is kind of sunk here, but Jake found another way to look at another player here with Jaden Ivey over 6.5 rebounds and assists.
Yeah, so it's pretty juicy at -157 on Caesars, but it was 7.5, like -120 on some other books. So I'd take the price at 6.5 any day. Actually got an underdog at 6.5. It was a suggested play by OddsJam, so I grabbed that, which is equivalent to -122 odds. So I grabbed that before it moved. Now it's at 7.5 on underdog. But we have him projected for 8. He's just getting a lot more usage lately since the trade deadline. And Indiana is still there. There's definitely holes in Indiana's defense. So I like Ivy to rack up the rebounds and assists today. I thought 6.5 is just a little too low. So -157, I was like, it's a little pricey, but if it was a -157 money line in the game, I would like the value there. So I like it.
Fair. Let's move over to Pascal Siakam here with turnovers. We like him to get 2.
Yeah, so he averages 2 on the season, but he's been pretty good about not turning the ball over the last couple of games. But if you look at his game log, when he has 3+ days rest, he averages 3 turnovers per game. And it's like they always talk about in MLB, rest versus rust. It looks like he is more on the rust when he oh, there goes the cat. When he is resting for more than a couple of days.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the Orlando game here. Orlando playing the Cavs, I believe it is. We talked about Darius Garland before. We weren't so sure what the status was with Donovan Mitchell. Now it appears he will be questionable here, which makes us like this play even more for Garland's PRA.
Yeah, I still like it. I think it's pretty much up to 25.5 with even as much as minus 130 on the over. So you might want to grab that while you still can. We like it up to 28. Well, I'd love it, but I loved it at 24.5, not as much at 25.5.
Okay. Any thoughts on this game, Jake, or the chat? Feel free to chime in. Yeah.
I don't have anything in this game, but I mean, Cleveland's looking real nice going forward.
So it looks like there's more optimism with Mitchell playing because the line went from minus 7.5 to minus 6.5. Now it's back the consensus to minus 8.5. So, and Mitchell's lines are on the board. So it looks like he'll play. I think he had an illness.
Mm-hmm. Scott was asking about parlaying these two picks to help with the juice from the Jaden Ivey play. Probably. Do we think we'd like them as a two-legger? Jake?
I mean, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I was just saying in the chat that Hard Rock today, if you're in Florida, they have a $10 risk-free NBA parlay, same game parlay. So I'm probably going to cook up something with Ivy and Siakam.
Yeah.
I like doing when you have those risk-free plays, doing correlated plays. So maybe one player to have 2 turnovers, another player to have 1.5 or more steals if they're good defenders. So I like doing correlated plays all the time if I'm going to do a same game parlay.
Right.
For Big Cheesy, he asked about Mathurin. We have him at 14.1 points, so we don't have that value on the over or the under, really.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I bet on him during my 25 days of bets and I had like no idea who he was, but really liked the stat line at the time, and I don't think it hit. So he's on my S list. Anyways, quick question here for Allen or Mobley. Do we like their assist or rebounding props? Just see if we have the quick value.
Mobley, depends what the line is, obviously, but we have Mobley projected for 10 rebounds and 12.5, nearly 13 rebounds and assists. So I would bet that's good value.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of value, let's head over to Mr. Trey Murphy here. Okay. Trey Murphy back. We finally get a player prop for him. Houston, they're hosting Houston tonight. This line opened up at 14.5. I was scared to go back and take it at 15.5, but if you're willing to take it at 15.5, maybe I am too.
Yeah. So the model has it over 17. It's the line makes sense because he averages 14.5 at home and he's averaged a little more, 15.8 over his last month. But I think that he started the season pretty slow and he's not as efficient scoring for the season as he was last season. But last season he was a lock. To reach this number. So I think that he's going to start regressing to his mean, which is closer to 18 like it was last season, as opposed to slipping below this.
So my concern is like his numbers with Zion playing. And there was one game where he still was able to go over this number with Zion, but one where he didn't. Do you think his minutes are affected by him?
This is what I hope is I looked it up when they're pretty heavy favorites. And when the Pelicans are minus 4.5 favored or more, the over for Trey is 12-4, and he's averaging around 2 more minutes a game. So it looks like we got to hope that New Orleans is up big. They sit Zion because they're always worried about him getting injured, and then Murphy gets more run.
All right. I like that. I'm convinced. I'm in. Just need a little push. I saw a question in the chat about Brandon Miller, so we can head over to the Charlotte-Utah game here. We don't have strong value on player props, but we do like the over in this game, I believe, right?
Yeah. So Brandon Miller, we have a 26.6 points, rebounds, and assists. I don't think we have any value on his overs, and I know people prefer over betting to anything else.
So do we.
I do have one under today, but I just had to force myself a little bit. Yeah, we like the over. So in this case, model's projecting, close to 240 points, which makes sense because Utah, the Utah's average number at home is 242. Their last month is nearly 249. And they average 11 more points per game at home, 124 at home. So the public and the model are backing the over. Charlotte allows more on the road, 121 than they do at home. And they've been scoring the ball well, except for a stinker against Milwaukee, where I had Miles Bridges over in, I think, points. They've scoring 122, 111, 115, 117, 118, three of those games with after the trade. So they've been playing fine offensively. Utah game score a ton at home. Not sure why the quote unquote smart money is steaming the line down.
Mm-hmm.
And LaMelo was ruled out, right?
Yeah. So as you called out, yeah, that's a big one. So we do have a Trey Man.
Where do we have Trey Man at? What's his
24? His line is 23.5 on a consensus earlier.
All right, so it was at 23.5 yesterday. So I guess it didn't even move. So I guess the books assumed that LaMelo was out. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind any Trey Man play because he's getting a ton of usage when he does play.
We're always talking about Trey Man here on the show. I need to run and grab my charger, but I'm going to set you guys up with a little question from the chat here, talking about Wemby, someone we always like to talk about here.
Yeah,
we're overthrowing McKenzie right now.
Yeah,
we're looking over.
We do like the over. We have 41.5 points, and it's just one big thing about this line. It's really steamed towards San Antonio because it looks like Sabonis is out. He basically never misses a game, but in the 3 games he hasn't played with Sacramento, they're minus 8 point differential per game, and with him they're plus 1.8. So he's worth a ton in those limited sample size. So yeah, this should help Wembanyama's rebound numbers. We have him close to 12 rebounds as a result, and his scoring numbers. So yeah, I love that.
Guys, that was crazy timing. I wish someone timed me. All right. Anyways, back to where we were going here. Let's move on. Let's talk about Kessler. Over 7.5 rebounds. We haven't talked about him in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, went on an early S list because he didn't take that leap that I was expecting this season. So I haven't looked at him for a while. We have a lean on the over. I'd say we were projecting for 9.3 points and 9.3 rebounds, which is well over 7.5.
Yeah, so all the value there would be on his rebounds. Would. So if anything, I'd bet his rebounds, not his points. It just his minute. I guess his minutes have been a lot more consistent lately. So I definitely think there's value.
He's definitely, and he's due, right? 6 and 7.
I mean, so we have overvalue in this game, so that could be a little correlated play over 7.5 rebounds and over in the game. So don't mind that.
Nick trying to talk about Ben Simmons here. Ben Simmons is a character that I just refuse to talk about on this show. He's just been permanent S list in my head as a Philly fan. So no Ben Simmons for me, Nick. You got to keep that out of here. All right, let's move on to a game quick we haven't talked about. Let's go over to Denver with Aaron Gordon here. We like him from deep today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge value, but it's one of those model has a 0.8 because he averages twice as many threes at home, made threes at home as he does on the road. I am worried, obviously, they should blow out Washington. So we need this Washington to keep it close, which they've had some surprising success recently, keeping it close as a heavy dog recently. But Aaron Gordon's over is only 5 and 9 when they're minus 8.5 point favorite. So that's the one thing I'm concerned about. But overall, the over is solid 13 and 9 at home, and he's on a 7 and 2 run of making at least 1 3 with a couple multiple 3 made games on his recent game log.
Yeah. What's his shot volume look like?
More at home, and then the accuracy it goes off the splits for the whole team.
While we're on the topic of threes, we did talk about Buddy Hield yesterday that we did like to go over 3.5 threes, slight value there. But again, a ton of volume coming from him. Don't know what his minutes are going to look like after they really, really overused him the first 3 games or 4. It's been a few games, but he's been playing almost 40 minutes every night, it feels like.
Yeah.
What's our value on Tyrese Maxey here? Is his line too inflated, you think?
I think so. We've had a lot of unders recently with Maxey. So we have him at 35 points on rebounds and assists, and the numbers probably 2 points above that. Maybe we're underselling him a little bit.
I was looking at his assists because he's at 6.5. His line, he's hit that in the last 3, and especially since the trade deadline and Embiid being out, has a lot more assist opportunities.
And Buddy Hield, right?
Buddy Hield too. Buddy Hield definitely helps that. Buddy Hield had double-digit assists probably for the first time in his career in the last game. or it might have been 2 games ago. What was it?
And he's
Buddy
assists.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I don't remember him ever getting double-digit assists. That might probably be the first time in his career.
What's his rebound? Can we go back up to his rebounding numbers up here? Still getting to know my new friend, Buddy.
Yeah. I mean, he's solid for a perimeter shooter.
Right. Could be a sneaky play. Maybe his points and rebounds. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe his points and assists. Maybe they haven't really caught up to him between him and Tyrese.
Well, the model hasn't, because we're still only projecting him with 3 assists. So that's one of those.
So we would fade the recent trend, but if it's consistent, then maybe we bump up his assists. But
someone was asking about. Yeah, I know someone was asking about DiVincenzo in the chat here, returning home to Philly. I think talking about his threes here, if we have any value on his 3-point line.
He's been like Hield, just been playing a ton and shooting a ton. I mean, he probably didn't go. I'm sure he's like Villanova. Obviously, he wasn't getting this much rain. He must go back to high school when he's had consistently 20-plus field goal attempts.
Yeah, I think he was like the first. I think I read that he was like the first Knick player since Carmelo with 15-plus threes in 3 straight games attempted.
So the model's got an adjustment in there for him to have another major attempt game. So, and the line hasn't adjusted that much. I mean, it's up. I mean, it was usually around 19.5, 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists for the longest time, and it jumped up to 26.5.
Mm-hmm. His points line was at 18.5, so we have 2 points of value.
We have no value on 4.5 made threes, so we have a 4.4 on the nose.
He's someone that I'm not scared will regress his minutes the way I feel like Buddy Hield would tonight. Like I haven't. There's no version of the story to me where DiVincenzo sees less minutes than he has.
Because if anything, Bogdanović would see less minutes.
Right.
Especially with all the injuries, DiVincenzo's his minutes would be consistent, especially since he was there before the trade deadline. Bogdanović scares me betting on him at all. Because,
me too.
He's been injured. He had like a -17 plus minus the other night when the Knicks lost by like 5.
But they give him plenty of chances. You know, he's jacking him up in the minutes he's got. So
his shot attempts per minutes played is pretty high this season.
Mm-hmm. All right, don't see any more NBA questions right now. Again, our episode from yesterday, we talked about some of these other games we didn't talk about. I'm going to pull up the recap screen, but if anyone has any questions they want to get out, feel free to. We can head back to the model, certainly. Tons of NBA plays. This includes plays from today and plays from yesterday that we thought were a little more urgent. Again, a couple of college basketball plays as well for tonight. Got to get ready for March, boys. It's coming up quick.
And we'll have ton of college baseball tomorrow. I am on one play I posted in the chat. Thanks to OddsJam, they have college baseball now, so shout out to OddsJam for that. So that's big. Under 12.5 in GCU versus it was a Nebraska. Yeah, GCU Nebraska under 12.5. Model has them at 11.1 because we're assuming they both start the number 1 starters. So we're treating it as like a Friday night game, even though it's on a Thursday, it'd be the first game of the series. That's the one play in college that I really like. It's moved to 12 in most books, but 12.5 by MGM. You still get it there.
All right. Good stuff there. One more question from the chat we could take here. De'Aaron over 27.5 points. We're potentially looking at his PRA without Sabonis here.
Yeah, I mean, we actually still have value on the under for De'Aaron Fox. You know, they've been tough. He had these kind of pedestrian nothing games and then 2 explosive games last 2 games. Malik Monk has been popping. Then he had a nothing. So they've been pretty frustrating all around. The guy I'm interested in is Sabonis out is Trey Lyles, who's listed as a backup center, who has had 19 points and 15 points and decent scoring days when given a chance. If his line doesn't adjust and you think Sabonis is definitely out, he could be someone to look out for.
So Fox, the under 40.5 points, rebounds, assists is under in the 2 games that he's played without Sabonis. That was last year, but he had 26 points and 31. So, I mean, if anything, I kind of lean under 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists just because Sabonis is such a good passer that he might have less open shot opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a good finisher too.
Yeah, a few players to look out for without Sabonis here tonight. That is all we have for right now. Happy to have the NBA back. Any more questions before tonight, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. Getting ready for college baseball tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to get back on college baseball myself, so we'll see how that goes. With that, good luck with your bets tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.